Hi all. Right, welcome back. Enemy Action Kharkov, Soviet Soul, take 2, part 60, isn't it? Yeah. Doesn't feel that long since it was 50. So, right, here we are, right, about to start the beginning of turn 7 with a German impulse. And just the last thing I done was reveal my hand, which I wish I hadn't now, because I just looked back in the footage for part 59, and I've not, to be honest, reviewed the footage of some of the episodes, but the parts before that. But I thought I'd just look at 59 since it was more fresh, see if I could. And I'm glad I did, because, well, although Martin's posted the error that I spotted myself. Anyway, so there you go. I'd like to say great minds think alike, but I'd be probably exaggerating that. Yeah, he's pointed out, and I noticed it myself, that when it says, there could be a problem with this, so I've just realised, because I've got my the cards out, and that's why I was saying about I wish I hadn't drew them, but I actually don't think I'm going to be able to get that unit placed in a hex proximate anyway. Right, and what are we talking about? Right, well, we're talking about the Soviet strategic reserve deployment that I made for this guy, and spent a bit of time trying to work out, hoping I could get him proximate to here. That so if I drew, this is the thing, I've not drawn a 40th Army card, so I could. Then this is an illegal deployment of him, and the reason it's illegal is I just know that when I was watching it back, I thought, wait now, Grant, it says at least 5 hexes away from non-isolated German unit or garrison or German town, city or map edge hex. Well, these are the map edge hexes. It's not beyond that, and I'm counting that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When these are the map edge hexes, so I've got to count 5 from there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would have been perfect if this unit had just been 1 hex further away, but he's 1, 2, 3, 4 away from it, so I can't. I mean, I've already decided I couldn't deploy it into there. So this is not a legal deployment. So, but the fact that I've drawn my hand and I know there's no 40th Army card, I could just as easily say, oh well, I'll just go and put it up there beside his buddies, like plop right in there. Well, not quite in there, it would maybe be there or something. But obviously I'm not that type to do that, so I still want to try and deploy them proximate to here. However, I don't think I'm going to be able to. I don't think. Possibly over this side. No. Now, hang on. What about that hex there? Maybe that could be a maybe. Because it's got to be. No, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Damn it. And the fact, yeah, Martin, he certainly didn't mention any of that. I was sure that with both deployment methods, you could place it on a clear hex adjacent to a supply road, but I'm not finding it. I looked for it last night, didn't I? And it wasn't there, and I was convinced that you could do that, but no, you can't. It seems. Where's our reserve back then? Hang on, 7.1. Yeah, it definitely does seem to be just for the tactical reserve deployment that you can put a clear hex adjacent. So I don't think I'm going to be able to place this, because if I go with tactical reserve deployment, it's got to be 3 away from here, from a unit in its army. So that could be there, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, I'm not proximate again. I need to close this window a bit. So, and then anything within 3 of the 40th Army unit is not going to be proximate to that town. Unless I can strategically move to it. Okay, I never thought about that. Because I would be able to, the most southernmost units here. Okay, so I never thought of that. Well, that will then mean that I could possibly put it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, here. If I put it here, I'm within 3 of them. I'm at least 3 away. Now, does that count? The map edge hex count for the... No, it doesn't for the tactical, I don't think, does it? No, not an isolated German unit, town or city. It doesn't mention map edge hex there. Let's have a look at the road. I'm sure there was a difference between these two methods. There was something I picked up that was like, again, like John put it, it was compressed too much, you know. It was something like that. Where are we? No, I don't know. I don't know what it is I'm looking for then. Okay, so that's only way I could do it is have it within 6 hexes, because I can't get it. I don't think there's any hex at all that I would be proximate to the town still with either deployment method, and that's what I was trying to achieve. So I guess all I can say is let's put it up here beside these buddies. You know, you might be saying, well, you know, the card's not in your hand now, Grant. There's not much you can do about that. Where else would I deploy them? You know, where else could I deploy them? I can't deploy them on this road at all, because none of it's within 5, and it needs to be within 3 of that guy if I go the other method, the tactical way. So I don't really think I've got an option. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I put them, no, I can't put them there though. I've got to get them on the supply road. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Well, that hex is adjacent to that road. Well, in actual fact, so is that, isn't it? Oh, well, so is that. Right, so under Soviet tactical reserve deployment, so within the fronts area, in a friendly map edge hex or supply head road hex, or in a clear hex adjacent to such a hex. So it's in a clear hex adjacent to a road that gives me supply. Yes. It's within 2 hexes. Oh, come on, Grant. Right. I'm not going to be able to achieve this. Why did I think? I thought it was 3 hexes. I get the feeling in Ardennes it was 3 hexes, wasn't it? I know it's 3 hexes away from a German unit, but I kind of thought it was 3 from the... Well, I don't think I can do it at all, can I? Because, I could place them there, but I don't... No, that's not... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not making it. No, it's just not achievable. I don't believe. I can't do it. Right, hang on, I think I can get them in there, can't I? Because this is, and I'm moving back to Soviet strategic reserve deployment. So in a supply head, in unit's front area, yeah, you can trace right down there on the supply, it's on the road, it's in its area. And at least 5 hexes away from a German unit. Well, that's the closest German unit there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Soviet and German map edge hex. Well, there's the map edge hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all that is good. That's in Soviet support. That's good. And now I can go 1, 2, 3. And then 4, 5 with strategic movement. There's not a hex. I don't think there's a hex I can place it where. No, because I looked at this one already, didn't I? 2, 3, yeah, that's only 4 away. Yeah, I think that's the best I can get. So at least with strategic movement, I could still reach there. I mean, okay, I know I've not got the card, but I've got to try and put my blinkers up to that and say, well, I don't know what my hand was. And it didn't look to me like there was a hex I could place it for normal movement to reach there. But there's no problem with strategically moving it, because he's not going any further west, and the line of the 40th Army going south is this line here, so I'm just going straight down really. So that's fine. Okay, right, we'll go with that then. Okay, 10 minutes going, right. What was a couple of other things I wanted to mention then? There's always something. That's what takes up the time, because I spend that much time over it, don't I? Yeah, getting back to Martin's give a better explanation. Well, an explanation of how this doesn't work. And it all makes sense, you know. I mean, right, I can't show you cards now. I've mixed all the cards up. We activated 40 core, so all the blue units become active. It wasn't a Kampf group card, it was just a straight up activate all 40 core units. They all become active. This unit underneath does not become active, just because this is on top. However, if it had been a Kampf group activation, then it and not just Kampf, yeah. Is it the 1st Panzer Army? Wait, where are the cards? 1st Panzer Army card does... No, it doesn't do stacked. No, 4th Panzer Army doesn't either. Is it maybe the Manstein card then? 2 more. City hexes. No, actually it's not. None of the army cards, the Manstein either, doesn't. So it is just the Kampfgruppe cards. And the Kampfgruppe cards activate all units within 2, you know. Within 2 hexes, you pick the one with the most, and then all units stacked with those units. But this activates them. So if this was part of the Kampfgruppe, it would indeed activate that 3rd Corps unit underneath. And we then would be able to consider that as the lead unit when checking, because it's an active unit. And like Martin's came back and told me that it wasn't an active unit, even stacked with a unit that's part of the attack card, major offensive, it doesn't make it then active. It's like it's coming into battle with a reinforced battle. It's like it's using that. That's how I can sort of look at it. So yeah, and he says the best way to look at it is on page 2021, German action terminology 10.3. Active unit, a unit in the activated formation that has not yet performed an action in the current activation. And then unit stack, the description of that is a unit and any units it is stacked with, including non-active units. So it's actually saying that we were looking at major offensive and it was talking about unit stack. It's looking at this unit and this non-active unit that it's stacked with. So it's not an active unit, can't become a lead unit. It's really just to reinforce the battle, if you like. So I think I've got that. Like I say, I've always struggled along a bit with that side of things, but yeah, that makes sense as well. And I was pretty sure he had things right there. I think I'm sort of thinking about the units moving individually and how sure this must have to be active, but I think that's probably the best way to look at it. Like it's a reinforced battle sort of action, something like that. But it's definitely not an active unit. I get it, I do. Right, and quickly, finally, John Butterfield made some comment on this one I'd been talking about, and Martin put a wee post on BGG. You're better probably going to look at it yourself on BGG. I can't remember the actual heading of the question. It was regarding step 2. It is step 2, action step 2. Move to VP hex. Move to German, although he's going to errata that, to move to non-Soviet VP hex, only if empty or garrisoned, and Soviet unit and I'm looking at Soviet unit would be proximate after the move. And John gives a good reasoning. about how it works, and like I say, you better go and read it yourself, but the unit was here on his own, he was on his own, and they had these third tank units here, and if he moved to here, then these would be proximate. Turns out he couldn't do it anyway because other units would be dangerous round. If you can imagine, this single unit's moving away, so our units would be able to come in and surround. And John states that most of the time it's going to be covered by, be restricted because of the chance to surround other German units. But he also gave another good point that if that unit sat there by itself and didn't maybe go to this town, it would give a strong Soviet force a chance to defeat that unit and then have a free run at the town. So that made some sense as well, you know, whereas if the unit's back here in the town, Soviet units have got to come up and you know, it'll give them better time to get organised and whatnot. So, like I say, you maybe better reading the post. It was quite a section. But yeah, thanks for some of that explanations, John. That's good. Okay, right. I think that's all. So I think we can get on with the game. Okay, well there's our hand, like we say. And yeah, plenty of opportunities to do a 69th Army. I was glancing at the hand as I was watching back on the video and noticed that these two cards have a forward support marker event, which I think I want to do it again in exactly the same area. Well, I say exactly the same area. I might shunt it one hex to the south maybe, because mine got caught out a little bit. But I think I probably want to do it because we've got this, a worry here. We want to take out these and then there could be some action against us here. So I think we probably do. And that is the only area that is really needed. The only other sort of small bit that we've got outside support is these guys here. And yes, they could get a bit of grief, but you know what, I don't feel like that we should be putting in anyway. I've not decided that we're going to make some aggression on these units as well, and hopefully that will still be in the Soviet support zone. Okay, so we've got two cards to do that, so I can quite easily see that one being the one they use for that, because I think I want to maybe do something with this. Oh no, this was the other thing. If you notice, both these cards are the ones that we've got a replacement point assigned. So I'm not so sure 69th are as much a concern that way, so that would probably be used for the vet support, forward support. The 6th Army card I think I would probably use for the replacement point. Now this does have the forward support as well, but I get the feeling we'll want an activation with our tank, so there's that as well. The other thing to take notice in the cards is we do have an air supply event there. So that's a card I'll maybe want to keep. So if I do get the chance on my first impulse, I think that's the card I'll be using to move that 69th Army. Now it's only a units card, but I'm pretty sure we can either not bother about the second stack or do something that might build an IP, you know, and get that guy down into the town. But this is still dependent on the Germans not making that move first. Yeah, so yeah, that was all my thinking. So well, let's find out if the Germans are going to spoil the party with that one. Okay, so first impulse of the turn, and because we're on turn 7, it is going to be a German impulse. And we don't want to see a Rouse card for a change. I mean, other things could happen. I started thinking, wait, now the guy's out of supply, would he not? He's behind the lines, but he is. But the first preference for his move is not to try and get back into supply. It's actually to move into a VPX. Pretty sure that's right. Hopefully we don't need to look it up. Right, here we go. First German impulse of the turn. Okay, whew. Right. Well, that could be interesting too, but at least it's not that Rouse unit, so we can relax. We should have saved a victory point there. Okay, but they did get quite nasty the last time, and they're the they're the reason we're on 23 victory points and not 24. So what we got? We got deploy. There is no units. Only reserve units we got are the Rouse units. Well, that would have been interesting then. We might have actually deployed rather than moved the Rouse unit. However, we've not got the Rouse card, so. Yeah, they're wanting to activate. So activate 40 core. Okay. There's nothing not in that area. It's all down in this area. The unit here that's stacked with that, and here, 2 infantry units here, and then this is in the VP hex, so I don't imagine they're going to be doing anything. Okay, well, let's just carry on and get a bit done. And then... Okay, and this is going to be the last turn of action steps 5 to 7, obviously. Turns 5 to 7, so we're going to move into a new set of action steps from turn 8. And that'll be set for the rest of the game, so haven't looked at them, not quite sure what changes there might be. My guess is they're going to get even more aggressive, but we shall see. Okay, so behind Soviet lines, right, there's nobody that can't trace supply. So then move to VP hex. However, no, we don't have anything that's... Oh, hang on. I don't think this guy can reach, though, can he? 1, 2, because he's breaking zone of control. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he's just one away. It's just, well, it would then maybe mean we would be proximate to after the move, but that's not going to be the case. And again, I think restrictions would probably stop that, because I would be able to then go around and surround this guy, you know, if he opened the gap up. So it is unlikely to happen, I can see that. So the other VP hex is away over here, which again, 1, 2, 3, yeah, he's not got enough to get right to that. So none of that part will affect things. However, we do have these units in the VP hex this time, and it does say that if start alone in a VP hex, and Soviet unit proximate do not move at all this activation. So that's not the case, because these are not alone. There's 2 of them. Okay. Does that mean both of them could move out? Well, yeah, one of them's definitely going to be able to move out easily, but the other one might not move out if it leaves proximity to it, to an empty VP hex. So yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, well, yeah, none of that doing. So let's move on to drawing some action cards and yes, see what we get. Okay, so 2 action cards. Now we lost the last sort of, what was it, deploy flank protection, so they're all probably pretty strong cards now. Right, what do we get? Oh, we've got major offensive and advance, so major offensive first. Right, yuck, no, that could be, oh, yeah, well, that's what they got the last time, wasn't it? And remember, and well, like I say, Gladys pointed it out to me and straightened me up with that these 3rd Corps units could become involved if the action applies. If the situation applies and it moves on to the action, then some of these 3rd Corps units, if they're proximate to whoever they go for, just thinking off the top of my head right now, I think it might be this guy that they go for. He's weakest now. Okay, well, let's look. Situational strength of active unit stack and other active units. So, so we're looking for a lead unit here, and active unit stack, and its lowest selector number. So it's going to be unit 3 here, and he is in a stack, but he's stacked with an active unit as well, so that doesn't really matter. Yeah, and it has to be the lead unit to grab the stack. So yeah, like we said before, although this 40 core unit is active, the unit underneath is not, unless, well, no, it's still not active, but it can't even be involved in this attack action, this major offensive, unless that would be being checked as a lead unit. Then it would be involved. It would still be non-active, but it would be involved. Right, I think I've got that right. Okay, so they're looking for greater than or equal to 3 times proximate. Okay, so, well, right away, we're sitting 7, come on, 9, 11. Just looking at these 2 stacks, we can get 11 strength against their, let's bring this down a bit, closer look at things. 11 against this 3. This 3 will become a 4 situationally because he's adjacent. But remember, we've got the major offensive card, which then takes a -1 away from that too. The command card's only a 3, so that's not going to affect situational strength. So it's a +1 and a -1, and then that's 11 against 3, which is more than 3 times. There's not any other adjustments to the situational strength, so that's that. So it's going to happen. Well, unless certain restrictions were broken. But remember, the big one is that we can move these units and still end in dangerous round, and we don't care. If it enables dangerous round to another unit or opens up proximate Soviet unit to a VP hex, then yes, that would stop it. But can't see much of that happening. Okay, so we're going for weakest again, and weakest was situational. I think it's on here as well. Unit stat with the lowest total situational strength. So it probably is going to be that. That's a 7. And remember, we've got a +1, -1. +1 for being adjacent, -1 for the major offensive. So these would all get +1, -1. So they'd all be as they are. That's an 8. What did I say was that? 7. And this is 3. So the only other consideration could be, hang on, this guy's a 2. This is a 3 that we would get a +1, -1, and that's a 2 that we get a +1, -1. So can they get to this guy? Well, the problem is this unit can move out of this hex, but the one below is not going to be able to, because it's going to leave this town open to approximate Soviet unit. So let's just see though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, he can certainly get round to here. So unit 3 would be able to do that. He could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's the next in line. So that's 8 strength. The next one to look at would be 7. Hang on. However, this guy is keeping these guys surrounded, isn't he? Sorry, maybe not showing you that. Was a bit hot, but I think him moving away is going to break. It's going to break the restriction of. Right, I'm looking at the wrong instructions. Right, it's from 4 onwards, Grant. Don't cause surrounded Soviet unit to be unsurrounded. So as soon as I move that guy away, these units become unsurrounded. Okay, so that does prevent him from moving. So unit 3 can come down. Unit 4 cannot. Unit 7 cannot as well, because then the VP hex is empty, and that's breaking another restriction. Don't cause Soviet proximity to enter garrison German VP hex. So we've still only got 3 strength down on this guy. And then we've got 10's up here. He cannot get down to that. 15 cannot get down to that. And then we've got 17 and 18, they're infantry. So they could. So I'm going to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 strength against 2 though. Yeah. That's still going to go, isn't it? Okay. Well, you know, the thing is, this could happen, and we could check this, and then these 3 units could come down and attack there, and there's nothing to then say that Unit 4 and Unit 7 and Unit 15 might. The fact Unit 4 can't move away because of the surround thing, I think that's causing a bit of an issue for them. Because I think, my guess is that this would be the one that they could go for, but they need 21. It's 7 strength, so they need 21 points of strength. They're only going to have 4, 3, 7, 9. Yeah, they're not going to get that. Okay, that's quite interesting then. But he is definitely the weakest unit. He's as a 2. Like I say, there's only a +1 and a -1 to all of these. He is adjacent to a supplied Soviet unit. So yeah, I believe so. Right, well, let's do it then and see if we get it right. So Unit 3 is going to move first. And, right, here's the thing. So that is satisfying the situation. All active units proximate move adjacent. And then non-active proximate units, enemy that units army join attack. Well, I don't think they are going to get, because although I was talking about 3rd Corps, none of these 3rd Corps units are going to be able to get down to fight down here. So I don't think that is going to happen. Right, so Unit 3 can go to 1, 2, 3, 4. He can either go there or there. But he's got 2 choices of hex. Now we need 10.54 obviously. We should be able to start strolling through that now though, Grant. You would think. Right, so a hex that would cause surround. Neither of them would do that. A hex not adjacent to a German unit, adjacent to the same Soviet unit. Neither of them do that as well. So then an empty hex or both empty. A hex occupies solely. No, most movement points to reach. Well, I said it's going to be this one then, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, they're the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're both the same. So tiebreakers. Hex that enables another German unit to trace supply, not an issue. Lowest numbered hex will be this one. So I think this guy's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into there. Okay, so like I said, Unit 4 would be next in line. He cannot make this move though, because he's going to be breaking the restriction of removing surround from that Soviet unit. So, and then Unit 7 would be next. He's going to break the restriction of leaving the town proximate, the VP hex proximate to a Soviet unit, so he can't do it. Unit 10 is just on the top there. Oops, it was almost away. Unit 10's up here. He's only infantry. He cannot get away down to here. So, and then 15 as well would need to go away around. He can't get round. So we do have 17 and 18 here, the infantry. So they're going to come, and 17 is going to move to, again, it's either one of these 2 hexes. None of them surround the unit. And again, that came up again. A hex that would cause the Soviet unit to become surrounded. I mean, it must mean the actual target unit that you're talking about. It's just in case it was able to surround another unit by going into the hex. I kind of chucked that out there recently, didn't I? But I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that one, Martin. You know, does it mean the unit? I mean, The way it worded does seem to be suggest that it'll move if it's surrounding this unit. If it's surrounding another unit where it ends up moving, that doesn't count. That's what I'm kind of seeing. But, you know, you can see it making some sense that it doesn't matter what it's surrounding. If it's surrounding something, that's a good move. But it's maybe not. It's not written that way anyway. Okay, Grant, move on. Well, you can't surround. So a hex not a well. Let's just change the wording of this now, because this is where this wording needs to be changed, because a hex not adjacent to a German unit adjacent to the same Soviet unit. This is a hex adjacent to a German unit adjacent to the same Soviet unit. That's hex here. So that's saying that's a no. This is not a hex adjacent to a German unit adjacent to the same Soviet unit, and this is where the problem was. So with the way it's worded just now, this unit would move in here, stack in here, rather than move into the empty hex. However, John has changed the wording, and I might need to write that down somewhere, but it's, how is it you put it? A hex not occupied or adjacent to a German unit. A hex not occupied by or adjacent to a German unit adjacent to the same Soviet unit. So that then takes this out of the equation, because this is occupied by a German unit adjacent to the same Soviet unit. So that means both of them don't apply. So we need to move on to C, and that's an empty hex, and that's why he goes here. So 1, 2, 3 into there. And then finally unit 18, well, he can go to either one, not surrounding. Again, both of these are not going to apply to the hex adjacent to the blah blah blah. Neither of them are empty. Neither of them have got units that are not going to attack, because these are attacking. So it's most movement points. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They're both the same. Tiebreaker's going to take him down to the lowest numbered hex, so he's going to go in there with him. Right, and that's going to be that. And remember, they don't care about moving into dangerous around, which they both are. This unit can go 1, 2, 3 and surround them all. Oops. Yeah, the three of them are. So, but they don't care about that, because it's allowed by the action. Okay, so, and then non-active proximate units and lead units army join the attack. Well, the lead unit was this guy, and he's part of the 1st Panzer Army. So that could mean that these units could join if they were proximate. You can see they're not proximate to this battle. They can't get down here or round, or it's too much to go away around. So fortunately for us, that's not going to happen. Okay, so they're going to attack. Yeah, that major offensive, that is a horrible card, isn't it? Everything about it is horrible. Yeah, this is the one if they eliminate or disperse. Okay, so they're going to, how many steps is there? I think there's only 4, isn't there? 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. So it's not greater than or equal to 6 steps. So it's going to break off at A2. And then if target eliminated or dispersed, conduct another activation with same command card after current activation. So we'd go right through the rest of these units to carry out an activation, then we'd activate this card again. Yuck. We avoided it last time, so. Right, and then it's go intelligence and engineers. And remember that intelligence means we cannot play a combat tactic, doesn't it? If I remember rightly. German attack. The German command value card is considered to be a 5. You can't play Soviet combat tactics. And if the card is a 4 or 5, it is not. And if the attack is not supported, well, it is supported. So yeah, so it turns the card into a 5, which could be relevant for chit draws. And it means we can't play combat tactics. So that's that. Okay, and they also get engineers, which does that not increase their, because there's no IP to remove. Remove an IP marker from the defender or present. No. If no IP is present, instead add 2 to the attacker's combat strength. Great. So that's going to add more odds, isn't it? Because he's only got a strength of 2, so it's definitely going to boost it. Okay, well, here we go. Well, what are the odds then? So it's 4, 6, 8. However, the engineers is going to make it 10, so it's 5 to 1. Not a good number. 5 to 1. And let's see, combat engineers. Yeah, that was the 2 added, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Yeah, okay. And then chip pools are 1, 2, 3, and then 2 for the combat tactics. So that's 5. However, you still got to draw a card yet. So 5 chip pools, 5 to 1 odds, and he's going to draw a combat tactic. Now here we go. It's artillery, isn't it? Yeah, so that's going to apply as well. So he's going to get artillery as well, and the combat chip pools are going to go up to 6. That card will not shuffle back now though, so there is that. Okay, well, I can't play a card, so I'm just going to start drawing jets. And he's either going to break off at A2, or he's going to break off. Let's move them out of the way so you can see that. That's actually not that helpful, Grant. Needs to go further than that. Yeah, he's going to break off at A2, or he's going to break off when he eliminates a unit, or he's going to break off after 6 chip pools. Right, okay, well, let's get the minimum 2 first, and then he'll draw the rest individually. So here goes. Now, what have we got against us? We've got a defender adjacent. We are armoured. We're in a clear hex. The odds aren't good. Yeah, okay, let's get the minimum 2. Okay, first chip was air power, second one was 3 to 1, so that does apply. So they've got a D1. To eliminate, they need they need D4. So, but we really don't want to retreat twice, because then that disperses us, and it means they get to go again, you know. Right, so another 4 maximum chits, 1 at a time, so we'll get them 1 at a time. Okay, not good. It was 6 to 1 on the on the front side, but well, there is our D2. We really want a defender adjacent chit, I think. Right, so there's going to still keep going though, so I'll get the next one. Okay, that was 6 to 1 on the priority side again. It's large attack. And I know they only got 6 chip pools, but was that not? That was the bit that was slightly different in this game, wasn't that? It'll tell us. It'll tell us on the chits. Where are we? I'm looking at the wrong query. I think it's in here. Large attack applies when at least 7 combat chits are drawn in a Soviet attack, or at least 6 are drawn in a German attack. Well, I say it applies. I think it's going to. It doesn't quite apply yet, because. So in actual fact, I should just put that there, because it doesn't apply yet. I mean, if that was an elimination of the unit check right now to see if they broke off, then it wouldn't be, because we need to draw 6 chits before that actually applies. But it's not looking good. Anyway, so right, let's get the 5th one. Oh my, right, so this is interesting then. It was NKVD on the front, and an A1, D1. So now this is quite interesting, because if it was A2, they would break off. However, this still hasn't applied, because we need to draw 1 more jet. You know, I can't just stop there, because this doesn't apply if I stop now. And if this applied, it'd be D4 eliminating us. I think we're toast. The only thing that will save us if the last hit's a D-1, I think. And even then, we're going to disperse and they're going to get to go again. And they're just going to make a mess of us down here, aren't they? Okay, well, I need to draw the 6th chit because we can't break off yet. Yeah, okay. Look at what it was. It's like dispersant's applied. I always look at the it's the way you draw the edge. You can tell what's the front and what's the back. Dispersant's applied. I'm thinking, wait a minute, what's general in the back of these? Defender adjacent. And look, it is, but look, it's not a D-1. Which would have saved the guy. I mean, admittedly, the Germans are taking a bit of a beating, so that's good. They might even disperse. Right, so I'm pretty sure I've done that right. So that does apply because I've got a defender adjacent. I had to draw the 6th chit for this to then apply. So up until then, we only had, like, if you don't count this, 1, 2, we only had D3, which wasn't an eliminatum. We only had A1, which wasn't a break off. This didn't apply until we drew the 6th chit. It now does apply. We now do have the D4 to eliminate the unit. We have the we have A3 to break off, but he's drawn the last chit, so. Man, well, I'd much preferred that to be a D-1. Even though that it did mean I was dispersing still, at least the unit would be alive. That was a kind of brutal battle, that, wasn't it? A lot of hits. So I see D4, A3. Yep, and I don't think this happens in this game. I know it happens in the next game. The hits left over. Well, there's not going to be a hits left over anyway. I don't think that does apply in this game. I think it is in the German solo game. With the Soviets, if they overkill a unit, they get to soak up some hits themselves. It removes hits from themselves depending on how many they do. I don't think it applies in this game, but however, it needs D4 to kill them anyway. So D4, A3, right. Okay, so 4 hits to us. Well, like I said, retreat, and then 2 step losses. He's gone. I just put him on the board this turn, and he's gone. So that then triggers this major offensive bonus activation thingy, which means that 40 Panzer Corps card's gonna. This video could just be about the Germans, I think, because I'm at 40 minutes now as well. So let's finish off this combat, and then I'll need to come back to things later on, I think. So that's satisfied our 4 hits, and it was exactly 4 hits we needed. So if that rule does apply, then it didn't do anything. I don't think it does. Right, wait, I get rid of the chats. I forgot to move them. Right, so what about the Germans then? At least we're getting some pain to them, and like I say, there is a chance they might disperse here. The first hit they've got to take is a hit, so, and then they take most steps first, so it is going to be on the armoured unit here. So, that's 4 strength down to 2, so that was good. I mean, that, to be honest, that is the good thing about it. At least these are getting battered a bit too. Yeah, so that satisfies their first hit. So they've still got 2 to take, and they've got 3 steps in this battle. So I think it's that tells me. So, second hit. If attackers' steps are less than 4, disperse. Otherwise, remove a step. Thing is, I think they get. Yeah, well, it'd be the same as us, wouldn't it? They soak up the next 2, I think, by dispersing. So, if their attacker steps is less than 4, well, they've only got 3 steps, so it is less than 4, they're going to disperse. So, that's good in a way as well, because, I mean, well, they would have been eliminating units, wouldn't they? I mean, two more hits to take, they would have lost 2 units. So, disperse. And so that was the second hit that they dispersed. Third hit, if dispersed, no effect. Yeah. If not yet dispersed. So that soaks up their third hit as well. That's fine. So yeah, well, they can't advance after combat because they're dispersed. And yeah, and now we need to just look back to here. But like I say, because if target eliminated, disperse, conduct another activation with same command card after current activation. I'll look at that in 10.56. But I do need to cut this, copy the bit across. The thing is, if they're going to activate again, it might just be wise just to put this out as a video, and then because I don't know. Well, what I'll do is I'll cut it here, and then when I start again later on, it might be joined onto this part, or it might be the start of the next episode, and I'll make that clear when I start recording that, depending on how long it's going to be. Okay, right, yeah, not looking good down this area, but, well, okay, right, I'll be back later, guys, cheers.